Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is officially dead. Now, us as consumers, we've known that pretty much since the game came out, but Rocksteady has given up. They've put out the final season, they've created an offline mode so you don't need an online connection to play it anymore, which honestly should have been included when the game first came out. Now, to celebrate its death, I've decided to go back and think about what the Arkham game we deserve should have been. First thing is this game should have never been live service. I get, something like Helldivers 2 can be live service because there's an ongoing fight for the galaxy, but this could have easily been just a single player experience like all the previous Arkham games. And honestly, it's obvious that the only reason this was live service was for the money grab. It was for the money. You open it up, there's the store with the different skins that are overpriced and different banners. Nobody cares about that. They should have just kept it like the previous Arkham games, a single player story. I mean, the very foundations of the game were off. All the Arkham games previous had that unique fighting style that was created for those games that was adopted by so many others. And in Arkham Asylum, it was great. Arkham City, there was upgrades to it, and they made it better. In Arkham Knight, they upgraded it, made it even better. Suicide Squad should have been a continuation of that. They should have found more ways to make it better instead of completely stripping that out of the game and then making it a third-person shooter. It wasn't great. One of the things that was so good about the Arkham games was the split between the combat sections and the stealth sections. In the combat sections, you'd be attacked by huge mobs of enemies, and as the game progresses, they would get smarter and stronger. In the beginning, you just need to worry about blocking one or two of them, and then as the game goes on, they start picking up stun sticks or shields, and you have to figure out different ways to take down those enemies that are holding those specific objects. You'd go from that to a stealth section, where everybody in the room would be pretty well equipped and you'd have to sneak around and take them out one by one. And switching between those two different ways of fighting kept things really interesting, and it kept you from getting sick of the game itself. Now in Suicide Squad, they decided to take both of those out and just replace it with a third-person shooter, which basically boils down to shoot them until they die. Now, it would have been nice to have guns in a Suicide Squad game, so what they could have done is keep the different sequences where you fight, and then using the gadget wheel, replace Batman's items with different weapons. So one character has a specific weapon, another character has another weapon, and you can access those through the gadget wheel. And just like Batman, you hold one of the triggers and he'll pull up the explosive gel. Instead of the explosive gel, just have that be one of the weapons assigned to the specific character. That would be a great way to add a shooter mechanic to the Arkham system. One of the things they could have done for Suicide Squad that would have built on the Arkham formula would be playing as different characters. Now, they should have done it similar to how Batman can remote control the Batmobile, or how Grand Theft Auto, you can switch to different characters. If you could be in the game and then switch over and play as someone else, that would be really cool, especially for, completing puzzles. Maybe you need a strong guy to lift something up, and then you switch to another character that's better at something else, and they go complete another task so you can complete the puzzle at the same time. That would have been a great way to build on the Arkham formula and make having multiple characters to play as a great addition. Now, using Brainiac for this game as the main villain, that can work, especially if he's going to mind control the different Justice League members into fighting you. One thing I would add is to make sure that there's different Brainiac mobs that can be used in the different scenarios. So some for action, some for stealth, and build on that. Another thing is the boss battles with the Justice League. As I've mentioned before, they all boil down to shoot them until they die. Now, the Justice League are all unique characters that have different weaknesses. They should have tapped into those different weaknesses. I mean, Rocksteady is the same company that did the Mr. Freeze boss fight. That's a pretty iconic boss fight. You go through and have to beat him multiple ways. You defeat him, or you hurt him one way, and then he eliminates that way of hurting him, so you got to figure out another way to do it. There's good ways to do boss battles. You could make fighting the Justice League members very interesting instead of shoot them till they die. Now, in the Suicide Squad we deserved, it would have used more from the Arkhamverse. It would have used more of the established lore. So in that game, the roster that we should have got of Suicide Squad playable members would be Red Hood, Harley Quinn, because I guess she is kind of iconic and she's been in the previous games, as well as I think Metallo would be a cool addition as a Superman villain, and I think Captain Boomerang actually does work as a Flash villain. I just wouldn't write him as such an idiot. Side note as well, changing Deadshot's race, You should have just changed his race. You didn't need to create this elaborate backstory where the Deadshot that we've previously seen in other games is a copycat who has a daughter that he named the same as the real Deadshot, and then Batman thought that the fake Deadshot was the real Deadshot the whole time, or something like that. That's such a stupid retcon. It's a lot less crazy if you just change his race and say, "Hey, we changed his race." Now, the biggest sin of the Suicide Squad game was how they treated the Justice League. In the Suicide Squad we deserve, they would have been treated with much more respect. Instead of killing them, just leaving their bodies there, Jon Stewart's in his underwear, Batman shot in the head by Harley Quinn. Instead of that, we would treat every single member of them with respect. And as well, I would probably rather not kill them, but I would incapacitate them and then put them in jail or something. Going back to a previous point I made, I mentioned that if I could choose the roster for the game, I would have included Red Hood. I think having Red Hood as a character would have been great because he was in the previous Arkham game. I think everybody was interested in where his story would go from there. And I think having him try to fight Batman while also trying to save him, slash maybe kill him because he's doesn't know how he truly feels, would make for great storytelling. It would add some emotion to it. Just imagine this. Instead of Harley Quinn putting the gun up to Bruce's head and just pulling the trigger, massive disrespect, have it be Red Hood. But instead of killing him, he chooses to forgive him. That would add a great layer of storytelling and emotion to this game. I think having the Suicide Squad members have an emotional relationship with the Justice League members would have made it way more impactful. Now, a little side note is if they did want to add some DLC characters, I think some cool ones to add would be Azrael from the Arkham series, maybe Captain Cold, Black Manta, even though Aquaman isn't even in the game, Black Manta is just cool, and Cheetah as a Wonder Woman villain. Those would have been way better DLC characters than what we got. Alternate universe Mrs. Freeze? Like, what's up with that? You're putting Deathstroke in the game last? Deathstroke should have been in the game first. As well as putting an alternate reality Joker. We're tired of multiverse stuff. And we don't need to defeat Brainiac 15 extra times after the game ends. Just get us some good DLC content. If it's good, and if we like the original game, we'll buy the DLC content. So in conclusion, in the Suicide Squad game that we deserved but didn't get, we would have got the Arkham combat system, both for fighting large groups of people as well for stealth, and we would have got those systems built on, a better version of them. As well, we would have gotten characters that we actually wanted to play as, not these annoying characters that we did get. And third, most importantly of all, we would have gotten a game that respects the Justice League. These are characters that we care about, and we don't like seeing them disrespected. Especially the Arkham Batman, who I grew up with and is known to be like one of the most unbeatable characters of all, just beaten by Harley Quinn, shot in the face. I don't like that. And I don't care if you're going to fix it in some future season. I'm not playing your seasons to get there. You ruined it. Thank you for listening this far into my video. Go ahead and leave a like on it and comment what you think the roster for the game should have been, as well as any other thoughts you have. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.